You have a pretty bold prediction here yourself. Let the people know what this is.
I know. I'm pretty pumped. I just in general, the amount of QBs I would be comfortable with as my number one. I mean, it's going to be Kyler Murray. He's going to be my quarterback because he falls to around 9 and 10, and I'm going to have him in every draft. But if somebody wants to be a dick in my leagues because they've been reading my stuff and they want to take him around 6 or whatever, I have plenty of friends who do that. It sucks. But there's still so many other guys I love, and two of these guys are getting drafted outside the top 20 right now that I think could easily finish within the top 10. And that's the bold prediction. It's Dak Prescott and Josh Allen, both going outside the top 20, will finish within the position's top 10. Now, it's probably going to be tough for both of them because there is only 10 spots to finish in the top 10, but at least one of those guys, no doubt in my opinion, Prescott, the one I feel a lot better about. One, because he's been a top 10 quarterback all 3 years of his career so far. So is that even that bold a prediction? I mean, it seems it when he's getting ranked as the QB 22 and getting drafted even lower than that. But this guy's been a top 10 quarterback all 3 years of his career thus far. The only other guy to do that over those 3 years was Drew Brees. And there's one other, maybe Russell Wilson. I can't figure off the top of my head. But
Russell Wilson has been a QB, like top 12 QB over his career.
Yeah, it's been top 12 maybe, but top 10 it was the only Drew Brees and like one other guy over these last 3 years has only been the top 10 quarterback. So Prescott, I mean, I think is just already been unbelievable. It is Russell Wilson. It was the right guy. I found my note that right there.
Yep.
But you know, you look at when he got Amari Cooper last year, he was not only a top 10 quarterback, he was the number 7 quarterback in fantasy from week 9 on, topping 21 fantasy points in 6 of those 11 games together, as compared to around 17 points what he was averaging before that. And the most intriguing part to me is not that he has Amari Cooper now, but now that Kellen Moore is going to be there calling plays. I'm a big believer. I know a ton of people out there that don't care about play callers. They think it's all bullshit. But I'm a huge fan. I think when you look at an offense that's getting a young mind like Kellen Moore, who everyone's raving about, who played in a system at Boise that was all about disguising plays pre-snap and using a variety of formations and just taking deep shots and whatnot. If he's bringing that style of offense, Dan Orlovsky, one of my favorite analysts who played with Kellen Moore, said he's going to compare it to, you know, a baby of Sean Payton, Matt Nagy, and Sean McVay.
Wow.
I mean, that's quite the offensive godchild. I would love to have that birthed this year if Kellen Moore can be even close to that. Obviously, some high praise, some high minds, but it's all about that vertical speed, all about disguising things, even if they run similar stuff, and about pushing the pace. You get a little bit faster pace with Dak, more plays, as you just mentioned, that stat. I can see that happening for the Cowboys in particular. The one area I really think Kellen Moore is going to use Dak Prescott so well is as a runner. He's been very underutilized despite being one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the league. His red zone rushing average is 4.46 yards per carry, 18 touchdowns in the red zone over these last 3 years, as compared to the league average, which is 2.64 yards per carry, and an average of 10 touchdowns for people that are racking up those amount of carries. So Dak's been crushing it over the span as a runner. Kellen Moore's already said, you know, we need to have better red zone success, and that starts with using 4 and 21, Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott better. So a lot more read options. They're saying in early OTAs they've gone a lot of spread in the red zone and then design QB runs and whatnot. So with that type of success, you add, you know, 4 or 5 rushing touchdowns, 30 more points, and a little bit more yardage, plus just better overall passing stats in a year full of Amari Cooper. I don't see why people are expecting Dak to not repeat as a top 10 quarterback, which he's been for 3 straight years, when everything's even that much better now.
And it's not just Amari Cooper, right? You have Gallup there, who's a phenomenal wide receiver.
Developing.
People were saying that he could easily be a 1 in this league. Mm-hmm. And now you bring in Randall Cobb, who's going to help with those jet sweeps behind the line of scrimmage to help disguise some of those plays, give this offense a little bit more creativity.
I love Tony Pollard, too. Have you done research on that, rookie running back?
So here's the thing, right? I have Zeke currently ranked as my number 1 overall quarterback. Mm-hmm. And I'm basing that off of the volume, the target volume that he saw when Amari Cooper arrived, where he was on pace for a shit ton of targets there.
Yeah.
And, with the volume that he had, he was averaging like 28 touches a game in that span from weeks 9 to 16. And Tony Pollard's kind of scaring me off, where I don't think he's just a special teams guy. I think he could be integrated on, those hurry up drives, up tempo drives that you were just talking about. Some of those, third down situations where they could maybe bring out both of those backs in, and Tony Pollard could steal away from some of Zeke's target volume. But at the same time, this offense is really potent. I feel like it could be very potent. They have a dominant defense as well that could give the ball back to Dak constantly on a regular basis. So, I mean, Dak, if you look back to his rookie year, man, like people forget so quickly how dominant this guy was in his rookie year.
I know, man. I know, and it's crazy to think, too, that they were the 22nd ranked team in points and total yardage, and this guy still was a top 10 fantasy quarterback this year. So, I mean, they take a small step forward as an offense is all it takes for him to just be that much higher. And they could take a massive leap forward with all the talent they have and somebody that's better able to use it. And Kellen Moore, again, another risk, just like Kyler Murray. We don't know for sure that this offense is going to pan out and be everything that people are scheming it up to be. But when you bet on these big offensive turnarounds, if you bet on the Rams a couple years ago, if you bet on the Bears last year, the Colts last year, I mean, when you find the right guys that are calling the plays and you go right in on those teams, then it ends up paying off huge for you. And I really think Dak, along with the Cardinals and Arizona, the dead last offense in the league last year, the Cardinals, I really could see them becoming a top 5 team in scoring as well. Because
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, the other guy was Josh Allen. I know we did a lot on Dak there, so I'll be real quick here. But just for anyone that didn't realize it, this guy was the number 2 quarterback in fantasy once he came back from his injury. I believe it was week 11 when he returned. Dominant force. He had a ton of 20-point games, a couple 30-point games in there. A lot of it because he was running just wild all over the place. So he was dominating, and then he gets just 2 new deep weapons, and Josh Brown added. You get Cole Beasley out of the slot.
John Brown,
I mean, not Josh Brown, yeah.
He was dominant last year for the Ravens as well. I mean,
4.3, 4.40. Yeah, I mean, look at the speed, right? 4.34 speed, dominated with Flacco. You got Robert Foster, 4.41 speed. You got Zay Jones, 4.45 speed. And you look at Josh Allen, almost 20% of his pass attempts traveled 20-plus yards downfield, the highest in the league there. Very successful at completing that deep air yardage as well. So you give him even better deep weapons. This is an offense that likes to sling it deep, likes to design runs for this guy, and then gives him better weapons. A number 2 quarterback scorer last year to end the year, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, number 2 would be kind of crazy, but to see him to continue that pace would not surprise me at all. So 2 guys in Dak and Josh Allen going outside the top 20, I wouldn't be shocked at seeing them finish in that top 10 this year.
I like it, man. I mean, I'm having a little bit of trouble ranking Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I like Josh Allen a little bit better just because I feel like this team is going to be better, much more improved. They were sneaky good last year. I think they're going to be a really fun team to watch this year. You know, that smash mouth, in-your-face football on the defensive side of the ball as well. And I just think they suffocate other teams with their
it's Josh Allen. It's not close, my friend. I mean, I love Lamar Jackson, especially as an athlete, but that guy can't throw a fucking ball. And yeah, you're going to get all those reports that he's improved his footwork and it's the ball looks nice in camp, but he just does not look good as a thrower. And Greg Roman, I mean, a great coordinator for a run-heavy offense and a dual-threat quarterback after his experience with Kaepernick, and he had Tyrod Taylor. I get it. But then you look at their fantasy finishes, and it was like, yeah, real-life-wise, you know, they had some solid years, but Kaepernick had one QB 11 year, his big year where he blew up and was the next thing. He was only quarterback 11. The other 2, he was quarterback 16. Tyrod Taylor was quarterback 16. To me, that offense is just so run-heavy and kind of blah. And they've never finished, and offense with Lamar Jackson never would finish. But a Greg Roman offense has never finished above the bottom 4 in total passing yards. In fact, it's been bottom 2 in 4 out of his 5 years. So I mean, when you just take that point source away from Lamar Jackson, whereas Allen, I mean, is he a great passer? Nobody's going to confuse him for Tom Brady or anything, but he slings the ball, he delivers it deep pretty well, and I just think those 2 are kind of worlds apart. I'm also pretty down on Lamar Jackson, so, you know, maybe that's my next bold prediction is he sucks, but I think as a runner, he's amazing, but if that's the only point source from your quarterback, it's such a pass-heavy league. I mean, that's why Kyler Murray is we hinted at, it's not just his running, he's an unbelievable passer. That's why he's going to be a top 3 quarterback this year.
So I feel like, I mean, I feel like Lamar Jackson saying he sucks is kind of a stretch just because he did go 6-1 as a rookie. He turned around the team, took him to the playoffs. Again,
real life is different, my friend.
Real life is different.
I'm stuck in the fantasy world when I'm talking to you.
You're absolutely right. Where like people picked him up off the waiver last year, and I want to move on here really quick, but I do want to remind everyone, like you picked him up last year, hoping that he was going to put up monster like 40-point, 30-point games, but that just kind of never transpired.
16, 18, a decent floor. He's got a decent floor. There's just the ceiling seems so capped with me.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like this team kind of ditches their attempt at integrating him into, you know, a more pass heavy role, and they just say, fuck it, let's just go in and let's just do what we were doing last year.